kitchen smelled like tea and burnt toast in the morning. Blue from the monitor, gold from the glass. Sora at the kettle like a vow still forming. Kaela done eating before the minute passed. Crack counter line through the composite surface. Yesterday's planning still visible there. Precise and half sleepless. Orchid already gone where the quiet gets rare. Outside the window, the city became itself. Tower by tower in the early light. Transit lines moving before the day got complicated. Everything honest for a little while. Morning in Nova City. Familiar home, low and patient, almost polite. Not loud like danger, more like a door left open in a house you know you locked at night. Morning in Nova City, hold this light. Before the fracture showed, before the systems knew, the city breathed in gold. Shoes by the wall, the roof access hinge, the first train call. Tiny human rituals, soft and exact. A city worth saving because it is that. Morning in Nova City, hold this light. Before the fracture showed, before the day turned through, the city breathed in gold. And we were still here. Morning in Nova City, hold this light. Carry this hour when the skyline was true. We were still like drag, where the value should stay. 3 sides east and each one holding under exactly enough to pass away. 4.8 where the trigger reads 5. The silence engineered to survive. Not noise, not failure, not drift in the grid. A hand with patience teaching damage how to hide. I don't call it coincidence, not when the shape repeats, not when the pattern learns the system and walks beneath its feet. Calibrated to invisible, below the threshold line. Too clean to be an accident, too exact to be benign. They know exactly what we watch for, they know exactly where we fail. Someone built this silence deliberately and taught it how to scale. 3 hours sleep and 17 windows open. Baseline first before the city noise begins. Expand the sample, mark the sectors, find the places where the wrongness stands. Tabs, old conduit records match the suppression map. Different readings, same location, same trap. 2 months back and never crossing 5. That is not a malfunction, trying to stay alive. This is design in a lowered voice. This is intent in disguise. A structure moving toward a center without announcing its size. Calibrated to invisible, below the threshold line. Too clean to be an accident, too exact to be benign. They know exactly what we watch for, they know exactly where we fail. Someone built this silence deliberately and taught it how to scale. Cursor blink, eastern grid, monitor shimmer. Keep it hid, wrap the seam, cross the streams. Truth arrives, geometric in the sleepless hour. Not as a scream. 4.6, 4.8, 4.9, never 5. Not coincidence, not drift, not chance Calibrated to invisible, below the threshold line. They know exactly what we watch for, they know exactly where we fail. Someone built this silence deliberately and now the city is inside the trail. Model updating, unease high. Threshold scan, do not look away. Water to kettle, cup to wood. Morning made quiet the way strong room should. No waste in motion, no extra sound. Pressure learns posture before it hits ground. Steam lifts slow through the cold of the air. Hands know the weight of what they will carry there. No speech required, no dramatic goals. Some forms of care arrive already close. The fire is always present. The question is always direction. The body answers first, then the world asks for proof. Storm T protocol. steady flame, heat without pain. Contain the storm, what enters warm leaves with shade. Wheels on concrete, breath in the ribs, a mountain choosing how much thunder it gives. Jaw relaxed, shoulders low, not less power, just cleaner flow. Some battles start long before the strike, and now you hold what power feels like. Not suppression, not fear, not flight, just forced hard early to arrive right. The strongest answers is not the loudest, the cleanest fire leaves the clearest light. What burns without purpose becomes hunger, what waits with purpose becomes desire. Contain the storm, still hands, steady flame, heat without pain. Contain the storm, what enters warm leaves with shade. Cup by cup, room by room, ritual walks ahead of doom. No grand speech, no wild display, just 3 minutes teaching, forced to obey. Ground through feet, count the breath, choose the target, not the excess. If the call comes east and the threshold split, if the streets need fire, then let it fit. Let impact travel through rooted stance. Let anger loose to disciplined advance. Tea steam rise and ember low. A body can carry what it does not show. And when the line asks who can hold, answer with warmth before the cold.
Storm deep protocol,
Contain the storm,
still hands.
steady flame, heat without
Storm
pain.
deep protocol,
Contain the storm, no words required, just shape, just aim. Still hands, steady flame. Contain the storm, contain the storm. Contain the storm. It hit the city sideways through 'em on feet. A quick cut clean enough to make belief concede. Not rooming on a forums, not a half-seen thread. A fracture caught on record with the public head. Street kiosks lit up, cafe screens went still. Transit riders leaned in with a different kind of will. Somebody froze the frame and circled what had been. And suddenly the hidden had a witness and an event. Once the image leaves the room, it does not go back small. Truth changes temperature the moment people call. FLASH has the footage, now the city sees. Freeze frame on the fracture line, running through the streets. FLASH has the footage, no taking back the view. What was calibrated under us just turned visible to you. Coming Headed north district, south rail, every channel, same trail. Truth with compression artifacts, still truth when it scales. They saw the bend, they saw the light, they saw the part that wasn't right. Not a myth, not a drill, not a ghost, just skill and damage and will. FLASH has the footage, now the city knows what lived beneath the threshold lines has finally overflowed. FLASH has the footage and nothing stays contained. Once a city sees its fracture, it will not dream the same. Public leak, morning split, signal spread, story lit. Luma caught it first in the eastern spread. Not as a warning, more a color in the thread. A shimmer where the clean line should have held. A bloom inside the map that something else had spelled. Orchid leaned closer, didn't call it fear. Some frequencies arrive like they were always here. Not loud, not violent, not begging to be seen. Just wrong in a beautiful to organized sheen. There are patterns that speak before language begins. There are signals that knock from the undecided in. Luma flags the eastern grid, signal bloom beneath the skin. Something gentle in the wrongness, something patient moving in. Luma flags the eastern grid, orchid feels the pressure shift. Beauty can be warning too, when the silence starts to live. Marker light stacked on the district frame. Same soft distortion wearing different names. Transit pulse under a market flow above. A city full of motion, unaware and full of love. Luma's little body flickered prism white, as if the map itself was learning how to write. Not data like Gaia reads, not force like Kaela holds. More like a hidden note inside a chord gone cold. There are doors in the air. There are seams in the street. There are shapes in the current that arrive incomplete. Luma flags the eastern grid, signal bloom beneath the skin. Something gentle in the wrongness, something patient moving in. Luma flags the eastern grid, orchid feels the pressure shift. Beauty can be warning too, when the silence starts to live. Prism pulse, eastern seam, half a whisper, half a dream. Gridline shimmer, quiet flare, something listening, already there. So mark the bloom and save the frame. Some truths arrive before they have a name. Some threats don't break, they resonate. They learn the room and then they wait. Orchid wrote it in the margin first. Not panic, not collapse, not a curse. Just this, the map starting to answer back. And something hidden likes the track. Luma flags the eastern grid, signal bloom beneath the skin. Something gentle in the wrongness, something patient moving in. Luma flags the eastern grid, orchid feels the pressure shift. Beauty can be warning too, when the silence starts to live. perfect timing. Noodle citrus, rain stained stone, a million private mornings making one shared home. No anthem needed for a life like this, just enough peace to carry what you build. A market lane can feel like sacred ground when every small exchange is chosen still. So keep the image sharp before it darkens. Save the movement, save the warmth, save the sound beat. Cause if the city asks what they were guarding, the answer lives in mornings like this now. Neon market morning, street line pulse, bright signs fading in the sun, and everybody moves at once. Neon market morning, hold this scene. Colors steaming, human noise, the living heart beneath the screens. Morning glow, market breath, rail blue. Neon market morning, hold this scene. Side streets buzzing before the noon reports landed. Screens in the shop fronts, looping the same bend. Crowds formed early where the barriers started. Nobody wanting to be the last one uninformed. Unaffiliated bladers in district jackets, practice scars, cheap grips, borrowed launch cases. Some came angry, some came curious, some just wanted truth to have a public face. Word moves fast when fear gets shaped, faster still when officials wait. Static in the civic blood, pressure in the lane. Everybody feels aware that nobody can name the right. Unaffiliated bladers, civic static in the street. Hands on launches, heads up high, waiting on the next repeat. Unaffiliated bladers, no one speaking for the whole. Just 100 separate nerves trying not to lose control. North rail stairwell, South Plaza corner, security lines flexing at the seams. Message boards lit with half facts and warnings. Every district building different dreams. Some blame sabotage, some blame old temple, some blame gangs from sectors out of view. But underneath the noise was something simpler. People know when something hidden has come through. No clean leader, no single voice, just heat, just out, just public choice. What begins as rumor hardens once the city starts to lean, and every unsent private fear walks outside to join the scene. Unaffiliated bladers, civic static in the street. Hands on launches, heads up high, waiting on the next repeat. Unaffiliated bladers, no one speaking for the whole. Just 100 separate nerves trying not to lose control. Transit halt, barrier rise, vendor shutters watching eyes. Street cams blinking, sirens late, public pressure at the gate. No formation, no shared plan. Just a city feeling danger faster than it understands. Some were barely more than teenagers' bravado. Some were veterans reading tension in the ground. Some had trained for sport and found themselves in history the minute hidden systems made a sound. And all the civic static, all the scattered force was still a kind of signal if you listen past the heat. A city asking badly for assurance, and the only language panic lets it speak. Unaffiliated bladers, civic in the street. Hands on launches, heads up high, waiting on the next repeat. Unaffiliated bladers, no one speaking for the whole. Just floor alive with a dangerous hum. No crowd to save them, no speech to steady them, only the shape of the work to be done. Eye on timing, orchid on signal, Kaela like gravity learning to burn, Sora in the current, keeping it breathable, blaster at center where all forces turn. The room got heavier, the lights grew bright, something on the other side pushed back against the light. Holding the door, holding the line, 5 signatures locked against the force too wide. Holding the door, 89 seconds long, holding on, singing, the whole world leading, and we do not let it through. It was not impact, not the clean violence of blade on blade or fist on frame, more like a pressure with memory behind it, testing every weakness one by name. Knees shook first, then vision narrowed, breath became math inside the ribs. Still they kept the pattern, answering pattern. Still they refused to let the hinge slip. No one had language big enough yet, so the body said it for them in strain and discipline and sweat. Holding the door, holding the line, 5 signatures locked against a force too wide. Holding the door, 89 seconds long, the whole world leading, and we do not let it through. Count the breath, count the burn, all the shit do not turn. Stone and current, flaming thread, light and pressure, not yet. Not yet. Outside the chamber, the city kept existing. Rails still moved in daylight, across the glass inside the formation. History was deciding whether this world would widen or be asked to crack. Kaela took the weight and made it posture. Sora kept the current from becoming fear. Aya held the seam where timing mattered. Orchid heard the answer forming near. Not surrender, not collapse, not this timing, not this pass. Hold the threshold, hold the seam, hold the city through the strain. Holding the door, holding the line, holding the line, 5 signatures locked against the force too wide. Holding the door, 89 seconds long, the whole world leading, and we do not let it through. Holding the door until the answer shows, until the pressure breaks, until the spiral widens and the world remembers what 5 people can make. Formation lock, threshold held, door still burning, city still alive. I knew the city had a different face. Same tower, same rail, same crowded pace. But every window seemed to hold a thought about the thing the morning almost lost. Screens went quieter after all the loops. People spoke lower, walking through the roots. Not peace exactly, not relief complete. More like a bruise become invisible beneath. Once a city sees itself under stress and under strain, secret name. What the city saw stayed in the glass, stayed in the stations long after it passed. What the city saw changed how it moved, fear in the shoulders, hope in it too. Vendors wipe counters with slower hands, office shoes paused at the rail line scans. Kids ask questions, adults answer then, trying to sound calm with the tremor still in. Someone lit candles by a transit wall, someone posted names and times in fragments small. Someone said they felt the pressure in their chest before the news made language of the rest. Every witness keeps a version, every version keeps a mark. Cities archive pain in motion, even when they hide the dark. What the city saw stayed in the glass, stayed in the stations long after it passed. What the city saw changed how it moved, fear in the shoulders, hope in it too. Shutter half closed, train doors slide, lines fading by eventide. Still the air holds what it knew, a public silence walking through. And somewhere high above the evening lanes, they stood with tired hands and altered names. Not famous for it, not cleanly understood, just carrying the fact that holding work. The skyline looked the same until it didn't, because now the people looking knew the cost. The city is not buildings when it trembles, it is the lives that almost got lost. What the city saw stayed in the glass, stayed in the stations long after it passed. What the city saw changed how it moved, fear in the shoulders, hope in it too. What the city saw will not fade fast, but it may become a reason to laugh. After image report, railing dusk, window light, human trust. What the city saw. What the city saw. The morning after did not look like victory. No banners hanging, no perfect clean release. Just rooftops drying in a quieter city, and rail lines running like repaired beliefs. Glass still carried hairline memory, streets still held the echo of the strain. But something in the air changed direction, like painted open into something that could remain. Not an ending, not a close, not a promise, no one breaks. Just a signal, learning shape, just a path the spiral makes. Only weary singing, others still dim. The map unfolding at the edges of them. Carry the warmth, carry the scar, carry the ordinary things that made it this far. So let the markets open and the trains keep moving. Let the tea be poured and the screens come on. Let the ones who held the threshold keep on living, without pretending what was broken is gone. A better hope is not a softer story, it is a stronger hand around the truth. The city lived and in that living widened, and now the spiral has another small. Only widen, hold the line and let the future answer call. We are not